Hi there, I'm Aaron Drake for Kidding Around, and we have a few questions we'd like to ask Mark Spitz today. Mark, how do you feel about the Olympic boycott that's taken place in the past couple days?
Well, I'll tell you, I think that the Olympic boycott, the idea is a very good idea. I think that the president would like to see the Russians move out of Afghanistan. I think he's trying to create a lot of political input by saying the Americans won't participate in those games. However, I don't feel that the boycott is going to work as effectively as the president would like to see it work. And since it's not going to be effective, in my opinion, that we shouldn't deny the athletes the opportunity to go and participate in the games. You know, they've trained so hard, so many hours, and I'm sure you're well aware, you know, being involved in sports, that all of that hard work is just like going to be going out the drain because they're really training for the big one, which is the Olympic Games. And to go to some competition after the Olympics are participated in Russia and the next month, say in August or something like that, that I don't think is going to be as meaningful to do it there, where everybody's looking.
Yeah. Now, just a few days ago, the United States Olympic Committee accepted $20 million. Do you think that's right? You think they should get more or less for compensation, or what? You know, not sending Olympic kids to the Olympics.
Well, certainly if they're not going to send an Olympic team to the games in Russia, they don't really need the money because there's a lot of expense in moving a team over there and outfitting them and feeding them and everything else that's involved in moving an Olympic team around. I think it's good for Olympic development to have the money to develop programs, but a lot of major corporations are not participating in donating money to the Olympic cause now since there's the potentiality of the boycott, and it's really hurting sports. When you think of what the Olympics has done for sports in the United States, one example, 8 years ago we were not very good in gymnastics whatsoever, and then came along Olga Korbut, and then came along Nadia Comaneci, who aren't even Americans, and television, which was brought to the American people, the Olympics, right into their homes, was able to see those young women participating, and they really made the sport what it is today in the United States. A lot of programs developed from those Olympic Games, and now we're ranked the top in the world and potentially could win a gold medal, or at least take a medal in those events, and we may be denied that opportunity now if there was a boycott. So the Olympics will really be hurt, I think.
Okay. You won 7 gold medals and set 7 new records in Munich in 1972. How do you feel about that?
Well, it was 8 years ago that I did that, and I think back on those memories as being, of course, very fond. There was a lot of hard work, and I felt that if given the proper opportunity to another athlete, and would he not be denied going to the Olympics, the potential of somebody else winning that many gold medals is certainly there. I did it, somebody else can do it. Yeah.
Tell me, were those gold medals really gold?
I wish they were. They're only gold-plated. Remember that you can't receive an award that is of very big value, or they would consider you a professional. But by yesterday's standards, whatever the gold was then in 1972 may have been $70 an ounce. Today, gold is $500 or $600. So the value of the medal, which was relatively small then, has certainly gone up because of appreciation. But they're more meaningful to me primarily because of the effort that was involved in all the hard years of training, more than any monetary value, because if I took them to the bank to cash them in, they probably wouldn't give me very much money for them anyway, because they're all, you know, plated anyway.
Yeah. I tell you, Mark, we have a film of you winning the 200-meter butterfly in the Olympics in Munich 1972. Let's take a look at that.
The Olympic record was set earlier today in the preliminaries. The world record, of course, set by this young man, Mark Spitz, in Chicago during the American Olympic trials. And here is Gary Hall. Gary Hall, whose specialty really is the individual medley. He is in lane 3. Mark Spitz, of course, is in lane number 4 as the fastest qualifier. In lane number 5, Robin Backus. This is the first swimming event in which medals will be awarded. The 3 Americans go for the grab start.
Mark looked like he got a very good start. And on this side of Mark, Gary Hall.
The lanes are from top to bottom, 1 through 8. And in the middle of the Americans, and Mark Spitz is out in front, no question about it. The listed world record, 2:01.53, set by Mark Spitz. He's a second ahead of the pace. All right, here comes Spitz, headed for the finish. It is Americans, 1, 2, and 3. The record is 2:01.53. He's got one, I'm sure. He's got a new world record. The world record on the left. The record that Mark Spitz just put in the books on the right. How about that? 2 minutes, 0.7 seconds.
Mark, all your records are gone from the Olympics. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think that records should be broken. I certainly broke other people's records, and I think it only fair that maybe my records be broken. I think that sure, it'd be nice if my records were still around, but I think it's good. I certainly wouldn't have wanted it to be the death of swimming. I think that swimming should progress. They should be able to break times that I had done years back. And so swimming has really moved along quite nicely in the last couple of years. The times are very fast now.
What age did you start swimming?
I started when I was about 10 years old, competitive swimming, but I learned how to swim when I was about 7, which I think by today's standards is a little bit too late to learn. I think you should learn maybe around 2 or 3 or 4 years of age, depending on whether or not you can get to a pool and the right type of guidance to learn how to swim.
Yeah, that sort of leads into my next question. The training is so much different by today than it was when you swam. What's different about it? You know, like the weights or?
Well, yeah, weights are certainly different. When I swam, we never did any weights at all. We thought that weights were really kind of bad for you. They'd build muscles that you didn't need. But the East German swimmers proved us wrong, and they did a lot of experimentation and really kind of weeded out the bad techniques and were left with just the best things to do. And I didn't have that, certainly, to contend with. I don't think I would have liked that. I hardly liked practicing at all. I was one of those guys that liked to win without really trying. And so I think, like all of us, you know, you like to get there without paying your dues.
Yeah. Do you still swim now?
I swim only for pleasure now. I do a little running and other things that I never had a chance to do when I was swimming. Swimming takes up so much of your time, and other sports really aren't good and don't coordinate well with swimming. So you're either going to swim or you're not going to swim kind of thing while you're in training. So I'm kind of like living my childhood over again.
There are a lot of swimmers I know that would like to ask you a question. Do you still have the urge to shave down twice a year?
No, I never had that urge really to shave down even twice a year when I swam. And I grew a mustache for the Olympics. My hair was kind of long by those standards and 8 years ago. So I was kind of radical back then. Today we see more and more interpretation from the individual as to what he does or doesn't want to do. A lot of the men are wearing bathing caps and things like that now to help cut down resistance.
Well, for all you people out there who've ever tried to swim the length of your bathtub, this is the man who can do it the fastest. Mark, I thank you.
Thank you.
Aaron Drake reporting for Kidding Around.